if I'm connected yet. Seems to be saying I'm connecting, but I've decided to do these series of live streams, not because I want to generate content or anything like that, but just really it's an experiment in thinking through ideas around ways in which to approach the following year, and whether that is the painting zine I've proposed late last year, which will be screen printed, and which I've created a conversation, a Substack conversation here on my profile, which has generated some images by artists who have submitted images, which I asked them to do. But I kind of want more, and maybe the more is the production of this zine. A few opportunities have been offered in the last few weeks to either launch or project spaces which are being developed in 2026. So anyway, I'm here commuting and thinking through these ideas around painting in particular. So over the last 15 years as a lapsed painter, I've been living vicariously through other painters, really, because really I want to feed back into painting in some way. I've always found it difficult to write on painting because I feel quite intimate with it as a painter, as someone who painted for a long time but then gave it up. Through, I suppose, going through art education, etc., at a time when painting was dead and video art was very much alive. So here I am in 2026, once again thinking about painting. Um, over, I think, 8 years ago, I did a series of interviews with artists, painters, over 2 years with two filmmakers, Saskia and Gareth, Gareth Nolan and Saskia Vermeulen. And it was a really interesting process because we approached it from my perspective as a lapsed painter, why I gave it up, and why other painters continue on painting. Even in the kind of volatile environment or critical environment in which painters exist, because they're tied to the art market, etc. And how painting is never really considered a conceptual project. It's always indebted to the past, to history, to the canon, etc. But of course, today painting is very much alive, but it's alive in a different way. It's alive on Instagram. It's alive within the market, and representational painting in particular. It really feels that abstract painting is something that has died with the avant-garde, and that we're in this era of representational painting, etc. I keep on saying etc. just to fill the pause. Um, so this year, really, I'm interrogating painting again. I wrote as part of a chapter for the Rutledge Companion to Painting, or Contemporary Painting, that's being published in the next year or so. I wrote a paper on the death crises and resurrection of painting for that publication, which was only submitted last month. And my paper is titled When the World Mistook a Photograph for a Painting. And it's all about how painting has become a photograph in the last 100 years, especially in the last 10 years, in its digitization and how my argument is that painting has become more seductive as an image, that always has been seductive as an image, whether in a book or on Instagram, in a lesser extent, I feel. I think the book has something that is quantifiable, something that you hold, whereas the digitization of painting as image is something very different. But still, the seduction is there. So that's my argument. Now, maybe I'm just being provocative. I'm saying that the reality of painting, the realness of it, is something superfluous to requirements today. That we can have more fantasy in the abridged digitization of painting as an image. Over the break, over the Christmas break, I was screen printing potential covers for this zine. And I want to make it quite large. I want to make it around an A3 size publication. I'm probably now I'm going to be trying to be ambitious here, but like 50 pages or so. I don't know if that's feasible because there's no funding behind this, but really it's not about a print run of 1,000 publication, 1,000 copies. It's really a small thing, like 50, between 50 and 100 edition. I want to just keep this small. It's really about the questioning of painting and how it is translated in zine format. I'm very much interested in theory and how that is attached to it, whether in its, I don't want essays, but I do want um, painters questioning the idea of theory in this new age. Um, it's been really helpful for me as a critic to think through painting in this way, but I'm lapsed and I don't know whether theory has a place for the painter, the, the active painter, the exhibiting painter. Um, so anyway, back to this cover. I played around with a few covers and I've always had a fetish for tennis courts. The chalk, especially grass courts. And I love the chalk outlines. I love, um, in a way, because it's a fetish, I don't really know why I love it, but because um, it's substituting something that I can't acknowledge. This is all psychoanalytic jargon, but I'm not going to question it. It's like it looks good as a cover as well, and I'm layering it and I'm playing around how I can transmit the reality of painting, an image of painting, as a screen print, and how that exists in a book format. So I'm playing around with layers, transparencies. I myself come from years and years of painting with oil paint, so I have this sensibility towards layering. I have no love really for screen printing. It is um, really something I adopted so I could do artist publication independently from commercial printers and graphic designers, etc. Okay, so really, I have no love for screen printing, even though I've grown to love the process. So I'm playing around with that. I may share an image of the cover as it is being worked through, and really, this is just me touching base. Um, and asking painters who are interested in submitting paintings and ideas. So this is built collectively. It can become something that is. I'm not only interested in painting, I'm interested in photography and other forms as well. So this is, I hope, one of many series that I do. But listen, I always set up projects like this with lots of ambition, and um, I usually follow through. But because this is self-funded, it's something that I have to do slowly. Um, okay, I've arrived at my stop, so I'll stop there. But I'm not sure I'll do this again. I may. I may. It's good actually to feel, even though I think there's three people here. It's good to imagine being live because it gets the adrenaline moving. It gets you to think through. I'm an advocate of what Simone de Beauvoir says about working and on the move always. That this idea of work-life balance is doesn't suit everyone, and especially it doesn't suit me. I need to be working all the time and thinking through things. So I'm embracing that for the next year. This is not a resolution. This is something I've always done. So um, I'm excited because there are opportunities out there to launch these zines, not just at the Temple Bar art fair, art book fair, but alternative spaces. We need alternative space, not just the usual institutions. So, and I'm also sick. I've always wanted to do a zine and a magazine, an art magazine. With all those magazines gone, like the only thing I see now at work is Visual Artist Newsletter, and it's really depressing, that publication. Um, it hasn't changed with the times, and it's something that actually motivates me out of it. I don't want to be cruel here or crude, but it actually motivates me to think about making an art magazine that can be circulated in Ireland, even though there isn't an appetite for it. But it's something definitely I'm thinking about broadly. Okay, I'm going to leave it there because I could waffle on forever. Thanks to those four people, whomever you are, who joined here. Happy New Year.